First of all, thank you so much for attending today's talk. And I would like to discuss on how to get started building apps on Appsheet. So first and foremost, a bit about myself. I'm Sujata Dusi. I'm a customer engineering lead for Google Workspace for India. And I've been working along with several customers across the country on helping them in their modernization journey, transformation journey, and also looking at in this discussion about how organizations can also build no-code applications for their environment to help automate several processes within their setup. So that said, let's quickly dive into the actual topic. So first and foremost, what is Appsheet? Appsheet is Google Cloud's no-code app development platform. So that immediately allows you to create applications, that to enterprise-grade applications, including automations by leveraging Appsheet. So customers can digitize their workflows, can help automate any of their business needs, and get things done faster, smarter. Now, why is it important now? So there are several trends that we have been working on, studying through, and that is where we have seen why this is a need of the hour, and more enterprises need it across different industries to build applications easily for them as organizations. Now, the first trend that we look at is we have done several analysis and surveys with CEOs and CXOs of organizations, and what we have seen is 75% of organizations are looking at prioritization and prioritizing their transformation journey. So that's the key here. So whether it is for their employees, their knowledge workers, or for their frontline workers, they are looking at that digital transformation in their environments. So another major cue here is there's a huge shift in marketplace. So more and more organizations are seeing employees build their own applications to get their things done. So that is where shadow IT is coming into place, because employees are using apps from marketplace, unapproved apps, services, in order to get their things done faster. And just for a no-code application platform marketplace, we see a predicted growth of almost 23% in just 2021 and over the years ahead. So organizations are investing in giving the right tools for their employees to get their work done. Now, that is where technology plays quite an important role here, and employees are looking for ways where the processes can be automated, can be improvised. But what they typically see is that they don't have a lot of options to do that. Now, the first thing that you see here, tracking with pen and paper. Several employees, field workers, several personas of users still use a pen and paper to get their work done or track their work. Another major observation is developing solutions. The time taken to develop new applications and solutions is becoming very slow and expensive, because they depend on another team to get it done and always resort to the IT in order to get the right tools for them to finish their work. Now, another major trend here is about purchasing external solutions. Now, once they are not able to develop, they obviously resort to purchasing new solutions, right? And that is where purchasing is also becoming more expensive. Plus, solutions serve very limited use cases. Like, once you go for external solutions, they go for literally targeted solutions for one particular issue. But if you need to extend it to other processes within your environment, that again becomes a challenge. Now, finally, there are one set of users who use all of these spreadsheets, Google Forms, and other forms in order to collect data, get things done, or build those automations. While it is effective, the data is still dispersed or present in different places. So it is still getting into that how to manage the inventory or how to manage those approvals, ticketings, and there are other processes which are coming on top of this process. So these are the 4 major trends that we look at. So as we move ahead, with Appsheet, we have built a no-code platform where any user persona, again, it's not just IT, from business, any persona can literally rapidly develop applications and automate their own processes. They don't need to depend on a separate third-party agency or an IT team or a developer ecosystem to build an app. So that is where the whole value add comes in. And the best part with Appsheet is that you are not just building apps for one platform or one device. Once you build an application, it fits whether it's a mobile device or a desktop service. The same app can fit any kind of device or persona. And finally, the center part about customizing or connecting with your existing data. So Appsheet can help connect with your data where it is currently. So it may be in a sheet, it can be in a database, it can be on an SAP system. Wherever your data is currently, the app connects to the data where it currently resides. Again, the database can be a cloud-based or an on-prem database. It can still connect. So what is Appsheet really doing? In a normal application building process, we see situations where there's a complete life cycle. That is a development life cycle from an idea, which takes few days. Then it goes into the actual app building, which may take another few weeks or maybe months. And finally, there are code reviews. The development team builds the application. After code reviews, there's a 2 and 4 there. And finally, the application end product comes. Now, all of this is taking quite a lot of time. And by that time, employees are resorting to shadow IT or other tools just to get the work done in this meantime. Now, that is where Appsheet helps in reducing the time for building the application, right from an idea to a final solution. Because you are no longer depending on multiple steps, code reviews. I've seen organizations where just code reviews, the security code reviews, penetration testings, all of those itself takes so much time, which is all avoided because the entire code base, the system, the servers on which all of this is running is managed by Google on Appsheet as a platform. And all the users are doing is majorly working on the idea and the business problem and how to solve the business problem by using or building the application. So that's it. A typical customer. Now, Workspace is an underlying platform on top of which Appsheet helps with a lot more integrations. But it doesn't mean that Appsheet cannot work without Workspace. But it just adds to that fact that there are a lot more integrations or intuitiveness that end users would see, whether it is with dynamic email or other connections with a sheet. But on top of all of that, we have seen customers build several applications to streamline their processes. Now, in this pandemic, I can say several customers have built app delivery services. Field users, particularly the frontline users, can leverage Appsheet to simplify their work, enter data easily. We have several manufacturing customers leveraging Appsheet for barcode scanning on their actual manufacturing unit, where every part or a unit can be scanned and the inventory can be calculated, assessed, or understand the supply input output. These are just some of the examples. Some more examples that I can talk of are now with the return of work or the hybrid environment that's kicking in, several customers are also building hot desking apps, temperature check apps, or visitor management systems, all of them through Appsheet. So with that said, Appsheet is an extremely open platform. Why we say open is because it is not stuck with a particular data source that, okay, my data has to be in this format. No. Wherever your data is, we integrate with that data source. Again, we have worked in order to build integrations with several data sources that are available. You can see a list. There are different spreadsheets available, databases. Most commonly used databases are all there. Again, this is not the end list, but it's about the art of possibility for you to understand that Appsheet can integrate with where your data resides. Now, Appsheet is also a lot powered by AI. I'll show some parts of this in the demonstration as well, where once you input the data, the application is intelligent enough to understand what is the data type of this application. What type of input can this app take? What is the view which will fit? And with Appsheet, you can also leverage the power of all other services of Google, because it can integrate with Maps API, Vision API, understand OCR, understand text which is handwritten. So it's about integrating with other APIs and bring in the power of AI ML to your application and your processes. Again, these are some of the use cases we have seen across enterprises. For field users, the floor users, office users, we have seen a wide variety of use cases. These are some of the common ones. We have seen customers in the financial segment building apps for their particular offices, their different branch offices, so that they can leverage to input information from customers. All of these applications become those central apps which anyone in the organization can use without any kind of development effort and the ease of extensibility of applications. So here are some of the examples, but the art of possibility is really unlimited, because we have seen customers doing a lot more with Appsheet. Right from project management apps, visitor management apps, ticketing systems being built on Appsheet. Now, that's it with the no-code architecture. Now, let's try to understand. There are application users. Now, Appsheet is not necessary to be used by every user in an organization. You can also start small with a certain business unit where they have an application requirement and build apps and then extend it to the rest of users. So identifying those application users becomes critical. Apart from that, how the users access the application. That is where the authentication model comes in. With Appsheet, you can integrate with existing SSO solutions and help access and leverage that authentication authorization setups already available. And finally, we speak about how they can be accessed from any device. So irrespective of whether you are a mobile user or a desktop laptop user, you can still access the same app and get your work done, which eases, because earlier days, I'm sure you've known or seen scenarios where an app was built only for the web, or an app was a mobile-only app. And it would take whole lot of time and effort just to extend it that the app is compatible with a particular device. But all of these become not applicable scenarios in Appsheet, because once you build it, it gets compatible with any and every device. So that's the beauty in which the entire workflow or the architecture flows in. And finally, you can integrate with your data sources and pull in your data for the application. So let's now look at one example. This is an inventory management app, which I'll showcase in the demonstration, where it has data source or integrations with different data types. Like a sheet is what I'll be using for database. There are email templates which I'll be leveraging in order to send automated emails to end users. I'll also be leveraging calendar and meet integration so that end users get invites once there are some triggered actions in order to block time and all. Some images are picked from Drive, which is leveraged as storage. But these are only examples. You can literally build from any kind of data source. So I just want to let you understand the kind of options available. So with that, we will now switch to a demonstration and quickly look at how it works in action. So this is my app. I've already pre-built it, and I'm now looking at how the app can be seen and how the different views of the app are also available. Now, first and foremost, in an application, there's different information that you get, like the information of the app, the kind of data it is using, the UX model, just to understand the view or to optimize the view based on your requirement. Security parameters as to who has access, who cannot access, who has what level of access can all be controlled. And then the automation segment, where you can build bots and trigger items on an application at any point of time. So let's quickly see that. So first and foremost is the data. Now in this scenario, I've literally created multiple tables. If you see, there's a categories table, there's an inventory table, items and vendors table. Now if I click on view source, this is the data that I'm currently leveraging, which has items, vendors, categories, and inventory information. Now that said, the app is quickly able to see all that item list. The images were all pre-built from the sheet which had the data, and I can optimize the UX. Now let's see, this is a line view. I want a more easier view, so I can change the card view. I can brand it based on my organization templates. I can also leverage different options. So these are some of the options and behaviors. Now in automation segment, again I can build, this is something that I've already created, where I notify the vendor whenever there's an email that is triggered by the app, whenever there's an entry that is created. So let's now look at the app here. I open it in a separate tab, and I get to see a full view of the app. I can create new entries in the application, like I can enter an image, I can choose a category, add details, fill all the mandatory fields, and I click on save. So this becomes an item form for your app itself. Now these are mandatory details that have been asked. So this is an example of an app more from an inventory management. Now let's take another quick example. Another way to build an app. Now this is a simple sheet that I've created here, which includes different columns. As you see, task, status, due date, priority, and project. This is again a very common example that we see, where we track actions of different tasks that a user is doing. Now, how easy it is to build an application out of a sheet. You get into extension and add an Appsheet extension to your app, and just click on create an app. Once I do that, based on the data in the sheet, Appsheet is automatically building an app for me. And I can continue and customize the app in my scenario. There are errors from a schema standpoint. I think these are common errors in live demonstrations that I can say, but this is one other simple way to build an app. Now, another final option is there are several templates available within Appsheet, which can also be used to automatically build apps from templates. These are pre-built templates that are already available. You can simply customize any of the templates and build it for your environment. So we already saw three ways. One is directly from data, directly from a sheet, directly from a template. Now let's say you're not worried about all of these, but you just have some idea. You can still do that by clicking on Start with an idea. Let's say there's a shop floor. I just click shop floor, and I don't have any idea whatsoever. So it's automatically giving me suggestions that this is an app for a collection of shop floors. On top of this, what is usually in a shop floor? Equipment. So I click on equipment, and a shop floor has many equipment. Now it's automatically building a relationship based on an idea that I have. Now there's a shop floor, there's equipment on the shop floor. Now there are issues. Issues in the equipment. So user tracks issues with equipment. Now, if you observe, I was just entering issues or keywords that I had idea of. But Appsheet is automatically giving me suggestions of what it can look at. Now, I want to save and refine. Give a name. And I click on Go. And Appsheet is automatically building an app out of some ideas that I had. Now, once the app is ready, I can then refine it. I can change the UX. I can change the data, input the data, or also create all the automations that I was talking about earlier. So these are some quick ways in which you can easily build applications for your setup. Let's switch back to the slides once again in order to see how it can effectively, while the app is built, let's now look at how you can optimize your data in order to build apps more effectively or simply. Now, first and foremost, we spoke about how you can use a sheet for Appsheet, right? But it just cannot be any random data, unrefined data. No, you still need a structure to the data. You need to have valid column names, proper names, which can signify as to what that field is. I give a name, phone number, it automatically tells me that it will pick, which is where the AI part of the Appsheet comes in, where it understands that, okay, this is the field for that particular column in the application. So these are some of the good examples. So a good column name scenario can be this way, like an email, a name, phone number. So there are some good examples and bad examples. Never use symbols, all of that within the column names. Similarly, data types. Again, it's very similar to an RDBMS where there's a key, you still need to have a primary key and all of it. But it's just that it understands it automatically and eases your work. And finally, there are also best practices on how to use keys so that you can manage the data more effectively. This is a bad example of a sheet that you can leverage for Appsheet. But at the same time, I was earlier showing a more refined sheet, which helped me build the app more easily. So that's it. We want all of you to start your transformation journey. You to build apps for your setup, for your users. And you yourself create it for yourself in order to optimize your own work. And you can start by leveraging or accessing appsheet.com. No code is the way to go. And thank you so much for your time and for understanding Appsheet. Have a nice day.